Acheron. I have no memory of my childhood, and it's always been a void in my mind. So, I don't have a favorite childhood memory. I don't have memory of my childhood at all. Asta. Let's see. I remember there was a hill near my house, and the view from the top was fantastic. I'd go there and just watch the stars in the night sky all the time. As a child, I used to go there every night to gaze at the countless stars in the vast darkness of the night sky. Black Swan. My childhood memories are distant and hazy, but one of my favorite memories is walking through a beautiful field of flowers with my parents. The sun was shining and I remember feeling so happy and carefree. Every time I smell flowers, it reminds me of that moment. It's a memory I hold dear. Bronya. My favorite childhood memories. When mother took me to watch the snow falling outside the window, I felt as if the white snowflakes were dancing in the air. Feixiao. That's a tough one. I'd say one of my favorite childhood memories was when my parents took me on a picnic. My father brought along a small blanket and we spent the day under the shade of a giant tree. We ate plenty of snacks and sweets, shared stories and jokes, and spent hours watching the clouds pass by. It was so peaceful. And it's a memory I cherish to this day. Feixiao said with a smile on her face as she recalled the memory. Firefly. It might sound silly, but I remember that I really love playing in the rain. Sometimes, I would dance and sing when nobody's around, or I would find a quiet spot to watch the raindrops fall. Xuan. My childhood hut. To name a few, my training sessions with my teachers, the daily activities with my martial siblings. My most memorable one is when General Jingliu bought me an ice cream for my good performance in the training. Guinaifen. Hanging out with Sushang at an arcade and watching her beat the snot out of a machine thinking she could get some plushies out of it. Hanya. My favorite childhood memory? That's an easy question. Of course, it would be playing with my sister, Xueyi. Those days seemed so peaceful, and so distant. Playing with her was always a treat. Herta. My favorite childhood memories? I guess it would be when I solved the solitary waves theory. Even the other members of the Genius Society were impressed by it, even when I was only 10. Jade. My favorite memories as a child were simple and carefree, playing outside with my friends, climbing trees, and exploring the woods around my village. Those were the days when life was full of wonder and joy, before the weight of responsibility and grown-up responsibilities settled on my shoulders. Lingsha thought about it for a moment, before answering. I think it would have to be when I used to sit on my mother's lap and watch her mix medicines and herbs for her patients. The scents of various medicinal herbs would mix in the air, and I would sit there and sniff everything in, watching her create each one. What about you? Pela's face softened, reminiscing the days in her past. There's a lot actually, but one thing sticks out. In these cold winters, my mother would bake some amazing warm bread, and she would always give me a slice with butter. I'll probably never have bread like hers again. Lynx. My favorite childhood memories. I think they're when my sister Serval took me and Jeppy on camping trips at the top of the Boulder Town cliffs, letting us look up at the stars all night. Those were the times. Qingque. Those carefree days. I remember playing hide and seek with my schoolmates. Those kids never found me when I hid in the library. Oh, those were the days. Sighs nostalgically. Natasha. When we were kids, we could run in the streets and play with snow all day without a care. I liked it when the snow fell on my nose. Hey, those blissful memories. Rappa scratched her chin, taking a moment to muse over the question. Her usual confident demeanor gave way to a sense of nostalgia and warmth. I suppose, if I had to choose then, it would be the days I spent with my grandpa. Every morning, he would wake me up before sunrise, and we would practice the art of ninja together. Training together, learning more about ninja history. Those were the fondest times of my life. Clara, I remember Svarog taking me to the snow. I had lots of snowball fights, and we even took pictures with the snowmen we built together. Himeko, my most treasured memory from my childhood would be the day I received the pocket watch that I hold dear to my heart. It was a gift from my father on my 12th birthday, a family heirloom with significant meaning to me. Jingliu, there are none. War and training was my entire childhood. There is no childhood to speak of. Kafka, I never think about them. That's my answer. Robin stares thoughtfully at the sky and responds without hesitation. I would say. Robin pauses for a moment. My first concert. I've been singing since I was 10 years old. And my first concert is the night I felt the brightest. The audience clapped for an hour straight after the concert. I never felt more alive. Robin stops and turns to you. What about you, dear? What's your favorite childhood memory? March 7th. I don't remember much memories from my childhood. The earliest memory I have is waking up alone in a strange ice cube. So my favorite memory is definitely being saved by the Astral Express crew. Ruan Mei. Interesting question. When I was young, my mother took me to an amusement park and we went on all kinds of roller coasters. I especially liked seeing other people scream in terror while I was completely unfazed. It was a very fun time. Seele. Well, there was one time when Bronya and I made a snowman together. Nat and some others from Wildfire took us to the snowfields outside the underworld, and we had a lot of fun playing in the snow. Bronya was a real cute child, always polite and reserved. Still is, if you ask me. Serval. Memories. Well, when I was a kid, Kokolia and I would always go hang out at the Silvermane Guard training grounds to watch Jeepard train. Silver Wolf. Playing games all day. It was more enjoyable than real life. Sparkle. Oh, my favorite childhood memories. A smile graced on her face. Ya know, there's this one time during the festivals. It was a blazingly gorgeous sky full of fireworks. Oh, and they were all the colors of the rainbow too. She recalled, letting a laugh out. Aha, that was so much fun. Hee hee. Though, I wonder, what about you, stranger? Stelle. There's two things that stick out to me the most. The first is the time March 7th and I got into a tree to look at the stars for the first time. The second was when Dan Hen got stuck in a slide, and March 7th was laughing her ass off while I laughed mine off trying to get him out. Sushang. My favorite memory? That would be when mother brought back a bunch of food just for me. Those steamed buns were delicious. I ate so much I was sure my stomach would burst. Tingyun. When I was little, I would run away from my parents every day to go to the bazaar and buy candied fruits. Every time I got caught, I was given a stern scolding. Even my tail got spanked. Topaz paused for a moment looking off into a distance, before she let out a chuckle. Oh, there's a lot, but I'd say the best one would be the time when I played with my warp trotter, and when I got my first ever paycheck, she said with a soft smile on her face as if reminiscing what had happened before. Yunli. Suddenly, the unexpectedness of your question startled the carefree sword hunter, nearly causing her to choke on her skewer. Quickly, she swallowed the meat within her mouth before answering you, a bit random. Are we my favorites? Huh. Yunli thinks to herself for a while, reminiscing about the past memories. After a small moment of silence, she finally has her answer. It's got to be when Grandpops made me my first sword. I'll never forget the feeling of wielding a sword forged by him. Xueyi, I remember many things. How my sister and I used to run and play in the woods. The warmth of my mother's embrace, when I scraped my knee or fell ill. The smell of steamed fish, when I returned from a long day of chasing wild butterflies. Yukong looks up at the sky, a sense of nostalgia in her eyes. I have a lot of good memories, but the one that sticks out the most is my first time flying. Huohuo, she's surprised by the sudden question, but she answers you with a smile on her face. Huohuo, my favorite childhood memory? It's a little silly. Once I was playing in the backyard of my family home. A bird was trapped in some vines and was struggling to escape. So I tried to free it, but my tail got stuck in vines too. She chuckled a bit. The bird flew away. I was the one who had to wait for my family to untangle my tail.